maybe you should. No, I've got to get pizzas to that observatory over there. And so you get attacked by some like smoke monster, and you like the pizzas fall off, and you're like scrambling around. Like, oh no, somebody
Smoke
needs
monster.
the pepperoni.
So I'm swimming through 30 weight motor oil.
Why are these new additions to your game that your intention was to release this fall? What are you doing?
Their primary focus should be surviving litigation.
Someone take his phone. I'll do it. Just give me a key card and a red button that turns off Randy's Wi-Fi.
It pisses me off that they lump racing in with sports. Then you look at this, insert F-bomb, Mario Kart and Sonic Racing lumped in with F125.
An aimless rant. We were just angry.
Gentlemen, we can rebuild him. We have the technology.
What's up, everybody? We are live. It is episode 84 of the Hardcore Casual Broadcast. He is Jay of F1 Podcast fame.
And I'm just now realizing for the first time in my entire podcast history, including the Fuel Pod, I'm not wearing a hat,
You are not wearing a hat.
which is
And
insane. So
I made
enjoy
some
my
online
baldness.
infamy. Gosh, there. And we are the conversation at the rerouting behind you. So basically, my day has been insane, Jay, but I also don't want to forget about you because you have started a ride just before we got on air. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I ate an atomic spicy pickle, and I'm trying to keep it on the low right now to keep it down. But man, it is the gift that keeps on giving at the present. So
Well,
yeah.
I hope that that it does not continue to build. Like I'm sure you probably watched at least a few episodes of Hot Ones, right?
Yes, more than a few, but
So
yeah,
I guess this is like the number 8. This is the
Yeah.
for you, yeah.
it's not quite the bomb yet, but yeah, we're getting there.
So I had mentioned to you before we get into everything, because guys, we got Gamescom, we got GTA 6 gameplay reveals, Zero
Unfortunately.
Company released today.
Yeah.
We've got more lanterns. Episode 2 was Sunday. We've got a lot happening and a ton to go to. And Jay has exhausted himself putting some edits together that we're going to watch this stuff too. So we got a lot coming up. But to start it off, I'll let you go ahead and go with something. Jay, I see you were pondering.
I have not seen the second episode of Lanterns
Okay,
yet,
we can discuss it without spoilers for sure.
but I have accidentally seen some footage of them strolling around a rich guy's house and all the theories behind that. And I have my own already, even though I haven't seen the episode, based on the background story that he told while he was walking through the house. But anyway, that's all I got on that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about Gamescom, and I'm looking forward to talking about Zero Company, and I'm looking forward to talking about Lanterns, and whatever more Come Talk to Us is, I'm looking forward to talking about that. And I realize there's one outset comment that I didn't say I was excited to talk about, and that's because I'm not. But let's
I don't
get
know.
into it.
I don't know when you at one time were interested and excited about GTA 6, and you have somehow transitioned into a contrarian, a curmudgeon. And
So
I don't know if
I
you
do
simply
this
find
with-
joy in hating what everyone else is excited for, or if you're genuinely disenfranchised.
It has nothing to do for the people. Let me be clear. For the people that are absolutely beyond stoked to the point that they're rabid about this game, good for you. I'm actually happy for you. I hope it's everything you want it to be. What I don't like, and this is the same no matter, and me and Chad used to get into it about F1 about the same thing. What I don't like is when any one thing is so dominating that everybody else acts like they have to get on their knees for it. And that's just not me. I will absolutely buck the tiger at that point.
I will say though, this is one thing where a lot of people they're just talking about where they're just like, oh, it's talked to death, it's got too much coverage, but that's not Rockstar's not doing that. Like, this is the thing where it's like everybody's excited, so this is what everybody's talking about. But Rockstar has put out 2 trailers, this one sneak peek, and that's it. Because they don't have
and
to do more.
they also paid that CyberLeak guy millions of dollars to put together that hacked footage.
Oh no, man! They are going after that dude's life is ruined. Like
He
they
works for him.
no, 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 no. They've already got court motions and filings and lawyers. Like they've got
Yeah.
this dude's not gonna I don't think this guy's gonna be playing GTA 6. I think he's gonna be sitting behind bars for a while. But anyway, my morning I don't know where people think we live or how people think we live, but like you and me both, like we live in towns, cities, whatever, but we're like 1.5 steps into civilization. 1.5 steps out, and it's the boonies. You know, like it
Yeah.
is not, it is not metropolitan or anything. It's we're
Correct.
divided like a GTA map where it's like skyscrapers and whatever here, and then you cross the street and it's the bayou, right?
It's
Like
Roma. Yeah.
it's that kind of thing. So whenever I take my son to school in the morning, we go by farmland and all sorts of stuff, right? So this morning, and they've been doing road work. So this morning, I'm going, and the GPS says it decides to reroute. And I'm like, okay, well, it probably knows better than I do. We've had road work. Maybe there was a wreck. Who knows? Let's let's follow it. Let's do that. And I went down a road I've never been down before, little back road, country road. And there were so many opportunities, Jay, for me to have made better choices. And I disregarded all of them. The first thing was, first of all, I shouldn't have rerouted. I should have been like, there's hardly any roads here. I'll just wait for that dude to flip the sign around and just go through the road work, right?
Yeah.
So, but I went with it. I went with the rerouting, and I'm following the road, and then the paved road goes right, and then there's a dirt road that goes left, and that's where it's rerouting me. So I'm like, okay, I grew up on a dirt road, and maybe I'm overconfident because I grew up on a dirt road. I've driven, farm trucks and tractors and side by sides. Maybe I've just gotten too comfortable with dirt roads. So I'm like, okay, no big deal. It's a dirt road. And I'm just going down the dirt road, loose graveling, and oh, there's a bit of a pothole there from rain and stuff. And then, like, oh, there's a big chug hole. Then it just stops being potholes and it's just holes, right? That have just been one of this thing that we got gullies. And I'm like, again, whenever it was a dirt road, I should have just turned around, gone back, started over.
Yeah.
Then
That's
whenever I
what this
saw the holes, I should have backed it up, 3-point turn, get the hell out of there. But I didn't. And I went. And then it got to the point where it's like you go so far that and you've gone through such treacherous things and you've straddled canyons that there's like I can't turn back now. Like there's no way I can do this backwards. So the only way out is
Yeah.
through. So I got to that point, and then there is a spot where along with this road work, we've seen trucks going in and out of this area, and it was clear that like while this has been wet, there's been trucks going. So we're talking like 1.5 foot, 2 foot like canyons, like gullies washed out of tires and stuff with this massive hump in the middle. And I'm like, I'm in a car. Like I can't do that. And then we've just got growth on either side. And so I don't know I'm like, man, I can't do it. I should have taken pictures, but I was so stressed.
and
I did.
Izzy's in the car, right?
Yes, yes.
And of course, he's sitting there going, "Oh dear God,
Yeah,
Dad's
he
an
was not
idiot."
stoked. Neither of us were stoked. And I was like, I was like, this is on me, man. This is all me. This is
Yeah.
my fault. But eventually I got to the point where I called a tow truck because I was like, man, I can't get my car across this. Like I'm gonna get in an even worse situation. I'm gonna break something if I try to go across
Yeah.
this and I mess up. Call a tow truck. They say they refer me to somebody else. Finally get this guy. Anyway, while we're waiting, Izzy and I, we walk down. We're so close to the road, and I'm like, if I can swoop over this way, and maybe I can straddle this trench and do this. Anyway, Izzy, I tell him to kind of like motion me over, and we work over there. Anyway, we go through there. There's only room for one car on this dirt road, so we get over that worst part. There's really only one other part after this, and it's much shorter to get past. Well, this there. Well, now I'm like, well, I think we can probably get out. We just need to, I just need to
Oh
navigate over
God.
these. So he backs up. Izzy, helps me get across these places. So we actually do get out. But I still had to this guy blocks the road and will not move until I pay him $200. because
Yeah, man.
he still came out, and I was like, can't even shave it. Like, you didn't even have to turn on your winch, man. Like, you just had to back up down a road. So yeah, that was my morning. So what was intended to get Izzy to school by like 8:30 got me home by like 11:30. It was not ideal.
Yeah, not ideal is the understatement of the century on that situation.
Yeah, so lessons learned. I told Izzy, I was like, man, don't ever let me do that again. Like, next time we hit a dirt road, just tell me turn around. Like,
Just
don't.
smack the shit out of you, me, son.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, so that was all on me. But anyways, all right, that was my story. So glad it's over with. But
Whew.
the big things, we've had quite a few big things. Well, first of all, I guess we should say, on a sad note, this has been an
Dude,
absolutely brutal week for losses.
yes, man. We had, and the week before it wasn't much better. So, but as far as like the material that we cover on this show, the big loss is Peter Collin,
Yes.
the voice of Optimus Prime for over 40 years, and also the loss of Tim Curry. Uh, for for a lot
Space.
of for a lot of people that don't know him, he was one of the main guys in Rocky Horror Picture Show. He was on my favorite episode of Psych, which was American Duos, which was a
Command and
parody on
Conquer.
American Idol. He was in Command and Conquer the game for
That
the
was where the
game
meme,
side.
the meme
Yeah,
space came from, was him and
yeah.
doing Tim Curry things
Space.
in Command and Conquer.
Well, it's like in Psych, he kind of coined this meme that went around for a while because he would the way he said no, he would always go no, and it was so Tim Curry. But and then of course we lost not only a singer and a songwriter and an actress, but and a humanitarian in Dolly Parton.
Philanthropist.
Um, where even if you don't like country music, and seeing the note that she wrote to Eminem was pretty cool this week. Marshall Mathers shared it on his social media. That was the coolest thing I think I'd ever seen her do, really. And then, of course, we lost Hayden Panettiere a week ago. So yeah, man, 2026 has just been a kick in the dick for sure
Yeah.
when it comes to losing people.
Yeah, it's been back to back, but
Yeah,
so yeah, hearts go out to everybody there, like all the
yeah,
friends, loved ones. Like, yeah, those are hard losses, and back to back to back losses. But on brighter notes, on funner things, it's also been a big news week whenever it comes to games. We had well, currently going on, still happening, is Gamescom, and we had the big, the pre Keeleys. We had the game the Gamescom,
like
opening
the
ceremony.
rough draft for the Game
Yeah, yeah,
Awards.
we got Jeff out there doing his thing.
I think we should really start though with the 3 minutes we're going to do on GTA 6, and go ahead and get that out of the way
Sure, that way we
because
can we
games
can cleanse your palate of it.
because that
Uh,
way then we got lots of Gamescom stuff and the
so
future game show, which is technically a separate show, but it's at Gamescom. So whatever.
I think they have a couple of that like that, don't they? They have like future game
Yeah,
show, and they've got some other stuff that's like very niche um,
yeah,
things,
and then
but
Xbox has a show at the
ugh,
tail end of Gamescom. So
which I mean,
anyway,
they ended up on the stage too with E
yeah,
Day. But yeah, so we'll start with GTA 6 then. So today was the day. It was the 27th, where we had the Netflix release of the extended look, which then goes out on YouTube and
yeah,
Rockstar.com. So we got to watch the new footage, and I don't know about you, Jay. I was kind of, I mean, it was great to see, but I was also kind of surprised. I thought, given that it was going to launch on Netflix, I was expecting a little bit more pomp and circumstance. I was
yeah,
expecting a little bit more structure to it, and
yes,
it was I mean, they showed a lot. It was clearly intentionally laid out to show you a bunch of different things, show you like shooting and hand-to-hand combat, and oh, here you're in a disguise, here you're playing it cool, here you're trying to talk your way out of something, here you're trying to blast your way through something. They're showing all these different sort of mini pieces, but there wasn't anything that tied them all together. They didn't
yeah,
have they weren't showing you kind of like a little mini narrative that like tied these moments together,
And
and
I
they
felt
didn't.
like a lot of that was by design,
Oh, for
though,
sure. I
because
definitely
yeah,
think that's what I do want to get into that because I think there is some method to the madness. But I was just surprised. I thought we'd at least get some voiceover, kind of like you are Jason, whatever his last name is, and I don't know something. But no, it just started like it. I mean, it started with just hey, it's the two main characters. You're seeing the back of their heads, and they're walking to a club, or walking into an apartment complex, and that's it. And then you're off to the races.
yeah, I did
So
have a buddy today, by the way, go, I'm surprised you're talking shit. You get to play as yourself. The guy's name is Jay. And I'm like, not doing anything for me, man. It really is. But we'll get to that. And I think it's cool that you brought that up because I didn't even think about that. I agree with everything you're saying, though. But I think everybody that watched it from a different angle. What was
yeah,
important to them, which has always been GTA's underlying DNA. It's what, I was talking to a guy tonight, a buddy of mine, Chad, who was like, hey, should I download 5? I haven't played GTA since Vice City. And I'm like, you,
things have
you didn't
changed.
play you didn't play 4, which is I think better than 5. And then I was like, and you didn't play 5? And he was like, no, dude. And I'm like, bro, there was nights I just got on there listening to 80s power ballads and driving around LA. And, when I
And
watched
driving
this
Love
thing
Fist
tonight,
around.
yeah. And especially now that we're going to a town that I lived in, watching that thing today, I was like, okay, that looks exactly like that spot in downtown Miami. Or that's exactly, how South Beach looks on a Friday night. Or, and I just really, that part of it's what I keyed in on. And that's my strong takeaway that's good from what we
So
saw.
So I do think there's a couple of things that we can take away from this as well. I mean, even before we get into some of the nitty gritty details, just the way that it's laid out and that it wasn't structured in a way that we would expect, not only for an extended look, because usually whenever you get an extended look, you've got some like, uh, you know, gameplay lead or somebody like that that's kind of like, here we are midway through the game, and in this mission, and they kind of like do a little bit of
Yeah.
scene setting, and there was none of that. And then also from just the sheer Netflix side of it, there was literally no Netflixification of this extended look.
No, not at
We
all.
got no signature sort of Netflix touches, which I expected. Um, but I think that we still have no idea what the narrative of the game is, and I think that is the intention. I think that I still think that there's some big things that they're hiding from us. That now
Oh, yeah,
I'm
of
not
course.
I don't think, or I'm not gonna just proudly declare this to be the case because I don't know. I have no inside people. I don't know anybody at Rockstar. Nobody at Rockstar reaches out to me. No, I have no knowledge whatsoever. But this is one of the things that we talked about last year whenever we were going into GTA 6, and we were
Yeah.
talking about some of the things. And I still think we're gonna have more than two playable characters. I think it's gonna be more than Jason and Lucia. And I would really I would
Jay.
love it.
It's Jay and Lucia.
His name is Jason. Some call him Jay.
But she's calling him Jay.
But I think it would be really cool if we got to play the detective that's after them, to come at it from both angles, to play the cat and the mouse in this sort of
I've
scenario.
always, and I don't know how many videos you watch on people playing the PC version, but there are real life cops
Oh yeah,
that
the
play
RP servers.
that play on the RP servers that it's a cop mod and they literally can pull people over and they follow their processes of the law to the letter.
They write
And they've
tickets.
got a dispatch that they're talking, somebody's playing dispatch
They
and
got a
they're talking to
database
them.
that where
Yeah.
like they can see if you got a
And
warrant.
and see, that's awesome because that's a GTA for everybody. You want to be a criminal? That's cool. Go be a criminal. You want to be a cop? And I love that idea. I hope you're right. I hope for once we don't have. Plus, we're in an age and time where everything is bad news, and I think it'd be cool to offer the ability to play as a law enforcement officer
Although,
or as a good person.
well, you won't be finding that
Woe
in
be
GTA.
tied.
You won't be finding that in GTA because even the cop that's
Not with
after
you
them,
playing.
even the cop that's after them we see, in fact, in this extended look, one of the things they do, they're sent to get a package for one of their employers, right? So they go to this drug place where they're
Employer.
packing these bricks, and they don't want to pay up. The drug dealer that they're talking to, he didn't want to pay up, but the this task force busts in while they're there. So Jason and
It's the
Lucia, they grab the
fuzz.
bag. Yeah, they grab the bag and they make a run for it. They shoot their way out. Well, as they're leaving, she mentions that, oh, it's the the detective, whatever the detective's name is. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but she's like, that's him. Did he did he see us? And they're like, I don't think so. But we see him like straight up shoot an unarmed criminal. Like he set his gun down. He's now unarmed, and he just shot him in the head. So he's not.
He
He's
was a
not.
criminal.
Yeah. Well, this is not. This is I am the law kind of cop. This is the
Should
Shield.
be.
So I don't know, but I would love to see. I would love to see that angle. I still am holding out hope that we will get him as a third playable character. But speaking of you talking about something different for everybody, we did see a lot of different things, a lot of
Yeah.
different activities on there. Something new. We saw backyard wrestling. We saw like
I,
Jay being
which
competing backyard.
I thought that would interest you, the backyard wrestling bit.
I was very interested.
Yeah.
We got to see dirt bikes. So we saw a dirt bike trail doing a little motocross.
We saw him washing his car and then hosing down the guys on the side of the road, which pissed him off. I thought that was funny.
We saw target shooting, like going through a
Yep.
gun range, doing the target shooting. We got to see that. We saw all kinds of different vehicles. So I mean, we got to see helicopters and SUVs and off road vehicles. I mean, supercars. I mean, this thing was tricked out. Also, speaking of
Yeah.
gunplay, the gunplay looked so improved. What we're used to, even down to the reticle. The reticle that we have gotten in all the past games has been a tiny white dot in the middle of your
Yeah.
screen.
Yeah.
And it could, depending on the lighting in your environment, it could be very easy to like lose sight of your tiny little white dot, if you're in broad daylight
Right.
against light colored things. But so we now have a basically like a three lines that form a T as your reticle, which is nice. But the watching it, I don't know what you thought, but I felt just from watching it and listening to it, the guns seemed to feel weighty, like seemed to be a bit of a shake to the screen when you would shoot it, and the sound sounded really good. So they sounded a lot more impactful than they did in previous games like GTA 5, where they sounded a lot like tinny, kind of distant and small.
Yeah. And they've sounded like that for a long time. And I've been waiting on them to have like to me, I think the gold standard is Battlefield right now. Battlefield 6 has the punchiest hits for weapons that I've heard in a long time, and it sounds really, really, really good. And this was as close to that as I've seen, which I think is good. And I think even rounds hitting should sound different. If you're shooting a thug in a t-shirt, it should sound different than when you're shooting a cop that pulls up full Kevlar out. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
well,
a
I
different
do
sound.
wonder how they'll do that because obviously the shootouts have not always been the strongest suit for GTA.
No, but you're
I
so
would,
busy during them that you don't
yeah,
really think about it till after the
I
fact.
would love for them to take a page out of the Division's playbook. I still think the Division 2 is one of the best whenever it comes to just the audio design on weapons because you don't even have to see it. You can hear if your bullet hit the target. Like
Yeah.
if it hit a dude, it's a different sound than if it hits a wall or misses entirely. Like they do some really great audio cues, and I would love to see something like that done. We also got to see so many small touches. There was a bit where Lucia got out of the car and went to rob a gas station. She pulled her gun out and then held her hand behind her back to hide it from people that were in front of her. So that she kind of like do a little bit of a coy kind of a walk in, which was interesting. We got to see it looked like it was in a bank, and it was Lucia. Someone apparently decided, you always hear whenever there's a bank robbery, like nobody be a hero. Well, apparently one dude tried to be a hero, and you could see there was a struggle for her gun, and it was a button mashing little sequence so I don't know if maybe that will be a thing. I don't know if that was like a completely scripted like quick time thing, or if that can just happen organically where there can be a struggle for your firearm.
By the way, did you notice Lucia's a little thick with 2 C's?
Yes, and whoa, geez, my chapstick. I just
Jesus,
hit myself
dude.
with the chapstick.
Just popping off over
Yeah.
there.
Whoa. No, but speaking of, you can impact your character's health a la GTA
San
San
Andreas.
Andreas.
Yeah,
So yeah, you can change your body's you can be thinner, more muscular, whatever,
right.
based on cardio and weight training, things like that. More things that are being introduced there. But yeah, I really this it's crazy to think that this is the first gameplay that we've gotten so far. It's all
Yeah,
been trailers and stuff. So this is the first real gameplay. There weren't this is going to sound like I'm disappointed or like a complaint, but it's not. But there weren't any real surprises there. It was just all cool because we've come to
yeah,
expect so much from Rockstar. I mean, these are the people that had the horse testicle physics in in Red Dead. So we expect insane levels of detail. So I wasn't surprised by these details.
yeah.
I was just interested in the details that they chose. Um, but that's in a good way because I've just come to expect such a high bar from them. Now, the crazy thing, and I know that you are a bit dubious of this, but they clearly their timing in the trailer, they clearly intended for this to be like a punch and kind of a statement piece. They do all of this. We see 26 minutes of balls to the wall action, all this stuff, crazy scenes, explosions, shootouts, taking out cops, helicopters, all this stuff, and then it fades to black. And then where we would typically see, some hype text or whatever, the text said captured on PS5.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, and
Everything that we saw supposedly was captured on a PlayStation 5. It didn't even say PlayStation 5 Pro. It said
right.
PlayStation 5.
So one of 3 things is going on here. And either they have, and I'm going to do the good one first, that they have optimized the shit out of this game. Okay. And if that's the case, man, that is awesome because it looked great. Can't deny that. It looked fantastic. The other option is that they played on a build that was just that 26 minutes, at which point the game's not drawing on assets for the whole game, just the part that they have, and it looks great on that. Then the other option is that they flat out lied, and this wouldn't be abnormal where games put builds for console games on high speed computers. And I'm not saying they're running in an emulator or anything, but close to it. And then they'll present the game, which is what causes people to go nuts when a game comes out and they're like, dude, this didn't look. You remember all the back in the day when E3 was a big thing and everybody be like,
Was a thing at all.
this doesn't even look remotely like what it looked like at E3, type of deal. And Cyberpunk suffered from that. And
Cyberpunk suffered
it,
from a lot.
it worries me. To me, it would have been more believable if they'd have put captured on a PS5 Pro, because the
So
PS5 Pro is, basically running PC low to mid settings.
so one of the things that came out with these leaks was that this guy, the cyber leak or this group, had a playable version of the game. Now, it wasn't the full game, but it was a playable version of a
right,
2023 build of the game.
and it
Uh,
still looked good.
and it was running at 60 frames per second.
Yeah,
So uh, it is not out of the realm of possibility that, especially with the literal billions that they threw at this game, that Rockstar's just wizards and they figured something out. Now, this used to be the realm of
I
Naughty
also
Dog.
don't put that past them because
Yeah,
they are
because Naughty
they're
Dog used to,
at this point they're a quadruple A company.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
Naughty Dog used to do this in with PlayStation specifically because they made specifically for PlayStation, and nobody could squeeze out as much juice as Naughty Dog could from place. I mean, just look at the The Last of Us. when they did The Last of Us Remastered, it's like, I guess it's better, but it already looks so good, that it was crazy. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. I will be surprised. Now, I would love it if it can hit 60 frames per second, because that's been something a lot of people have been doubtful about it. Some people have said 45 max, but we'll see. We will see, because yeah, I agree with you. Now, I agree that it looked so good it would be hard to believe that that came on a base PlayStation 5. But the only thing that gives me a bit of hope from that is that I would think that Rockstar wouldn't make such a stupid mistake, given all the eyes that are on them, and they clearly put it in the trailer at the very end
Yeah.
to get a bit of a wow factor, so they know people are going to be asking questions. They know people are going to be like, bullshit, you know, show us, prove it. So the thing that gives me some kind of hope that that's legit is that they got to know that they're going to be getting so many people doubting it, and they
Yeah.
just be ready to put it up. So we'll see. But yeah, from what we saw, there weren't a ton of surprises, because what more could they do to surprise us at this point? Um it was just whetting the appetite. So everybody that was excited for it, even more excited for it. If you haven't seen it, if you don't have a Netflix subscription, whatever, it will be out very shortly on YouTube. Check it out, and I think you will be very happy with what you see. We are coming up close. We will be there in November. So yeah, and then all bets will be settled and squared, and we'll see where it all falls.
All right.
So okay, now, Jay, I know that you have put a ton of work into your pre-Keeley coverage. So where would you like to start on
Well,
Gamescom?
as you know, we had Gamescom this, and it's still going on really
Yeah,
in Cologne, Germany. This is the second year for Cologne. I think it was in Korea before that.
pictured
Uh,
behind
but we,
Jay.
we had, and there's no, there, we had a metric shit ton of games.
I was actually surprised at how many announcements they
Yeah,
had in that
and a
presentation.
lot of good ones. Not as it felt like the gacha game count was down. Felt like that was
Thank
down, which
God.
is good.
Yeah,
I mean, we did have some Hoyo verse, or
HoYoverse.
and
Yeah.
we had some
Although
10
that one
or
did look
whatever it's
interesting,
called.
though. That one
Yeah, it
did look
did.
pretty sick. So
We had I think it was called White Palace or Silver Palace or something. Then we had
something notice.
yeah, then we had a few what's the name of that 10 cent or whatever something.
Yeah, it's some 10-cent games.
Yeah, so we had a few of those on there. We had some games I'm not going to highlight tonight. I kind of, oddly enough, just like everybody else, I had my own takeaways from it that were interesting. I know some of them are on your list too. Before I get to the ones that I brought video representation for, though, there's a game called Notice Fall. It's
Oh, that's the one
Nodus.
I was talking about. That one's the
Notice.
HoYoverse
Yeah,
game that looked pretty sick. Yeah.
that's right. And it's a Souls like. Also, I learned this week, and I never knew this. So in order to be Soulsborne, it has to be made by From Software to be a Soulsborne game. To be a Souls-like, it has to be basically a Soulsborne game that's not made by FromSoft. So I never knew that. So it is Notice Fall is a Souls-like game. There's a lot of people though tearing into it on TikTok and Insta Reels, saying that it's literally just a direct bum plagiarize of Elden Ring, and I didn't think so when I saw the trailer. I don't know if you did or not,
No, I
but
didn't get that. I thought I mean, I can
yeah,
definitely see some
yeah,
some tonal influence on just like the
yeah,
landscape and stuff like that. But the whole thing of like summoning this kind of entity that like fights alongside you, and there's like this massive blade that you could
yeah.
control with, like, it looked like the rig from Wild 9 from back in the day, that you're like throwing this thing
Wow,
around. Like,
that was a deep dive.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
that's a
deep
good
cut.
call.
But
Yeah,
I was actually, that was one thing I was impressed by. Whenever I saw HoYoverse, I was like, oh, here we go.
there
And
was
then
a
what they showed us was actually really impressive, actually. So
there
I
was
didn't
a.
think it was an Elden Ring ripoff. I was kind of intrigued.
It was funny, but I actually had more ties to Final Fantasy X in it when I was watching it in my head, because there was a summons you could do in Final Fantasy X of a character called Yojimbo. And it was the coolest one because all the rest of them had these epic intros. And this one would be this slow mo, and it'd have that like the Kurosawa style. Bow, barrel, barrel, and this guy
Little
walked out.
steel
He's real
guitar.
slow, got the sword on his back. Big old dude could just one hit anything. And I felt like that when I was watching that trailer. Um, but I mean, I can already tell you, I know my son will probably be like, "Yeah, we gotta pre-order that, Dad."
Yeah, it looked like a mix
Uh,
between Elden Ring and God of
yeah,
War and Wild 9 and
yeah,
Final Fantasy. Like I said, I will try to. I'm actually, and it might come out to be a total gotcha game with and paywall bullshit. But so far, I'm gonna try to hold my prejudice against Hoyoverse and their gotcha strategy.
yeah.
I was intrigued by what they showed.
Yeah, it was a cool video. And then of course, we found out, and it came with a huge update, but Crimson Desert is now called Crimson Desert Enhanced, and they've added new story points. And what worries me about that is, do I need to go back and start over? Have I already missed some of these new story points?
You have.
So I need to start over basically to get all these,
Maybe. So
which is
what
crazy because while I definitely don't have as many hours in it as my son or like Redbeard or any of those guys, um, I'm still pretty far into it, and it just worries me that I have to go back and start over to see that
so I
stuff.
mean I mean you don't need to, but you have missed some things. I saw somebody
Yeah,
playing some of the new content, and one of the first things we talked about this whenever it came out, the first
yeah,
show that we came back, we were talking about how like, hey, it's fun. There's a lot of cool stuff, but the story is wonky, and we talked
yeah,
about how. And you and I both thought the same thing because we played it so late at night so that we would be able to talk about it the
yeah,
next day on the show. So I was like playing the game, and you do the intro, you have this brawl with this warring faction, and then you get like mecha murdered and thrown off a
yeah.
cliff, and then the next thing you know, you're walking beside a pond just chatting it up with some guy. And I remember I was thinking like, I was like, did I fall asleep and like wake back
Right.
up? What happened? So they have actually there's actually a story point between those two things now.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Which, man, wouldn't that have been cool to have whenever the game launched?
Right. I mean, part of me liked the disorientation in a way because I thought, well, maybe that's kind of how it would be. I guess I'd wake up beside a lake and these guys talking to
But he
me
but he also
like
had a
they've known
glowing
me for.
hand that he
Yeah,
wasn't worried about.
yeah,
Like, we had this glowing. We're like, wait, whoa, we skipped so many things. How am I not dead? What happened to my hand? Why is this not news to this guy? Like,
right.
what is going on? But so yeah, they did a lot of filling out of the story, filling in gaps. There was also things as you would play where there would be things that were voiced over, and then things that were just text. And there is now more voiceover in a lot. I don't know if it's all voiced over now, but there is a lot more voiceover. So there will be less of those times where it's a bit of a change up where there's audio, and then all of a sudden you're just reading text.
Yeah. Um, the other one, and I mentioned it before the show, and I had played the first game, and this one, at first I didn't really care to add this to my board, but the more I see, the more I'm convinced that Control Resonant is going to be a heavy hitter. And there's a lot of things about it that I love. Like I love that the whole. It looked like they took a lot of inspiration from the movie Inception, and
Oh,
from
for
and
sure.
from and from Doctor Strange, who probably also took a lot
Took
of
the
inspiration from
city
Inception.
folding was straight up
Yeah,
like the
and
movie poster of
and
Inception.
the fact that you have a tool that allows you to bend the city, where you can throw the grapple and pull down on it and twist the city so you can make a landing or whatever. But dude, I just love this. The only thing that really drives me crazy is that basically your only weapon is this black stick that can turn into a bunch of different shit.
But see, that's the
But
thing is I
it's
think
still really weird.
that's the crux of, well, again, for those that don't know, this is Remedy that is making this game.
Yeah,
And weird is where Remedy lives. Did you
yeah,
ever get to play Alan Wake 2?
I did. I didn't like it as much as the first game, and I didn't finish it because I didn't like it as much as the first game.
But you saw the mechanic of rewriting the
Yes.
the the real world as this whole thing. So they always find ways to have interesting mechanics that also seem usually bend reality. Um, but I'm very intrigued by this. So I think that there's probably even more to this stick. There's probably even more things that we can build than what we're
Yeah.
seeing so far. I'm looking forward to it. I love Remedy. I love their games. Even whenever the games don't hit as hard, because I agree, Alan Wake 2 was such a diversion or a
Yeah.
deviation, I should say, from the original. But I still liked it. I think the only reason that I didn't enjoy it as much was because it was Alan Wake 2. If it had been called something else and then just been
Yeah.
like in that same universe, my expectations would have been a little bit different. But I don't know. I just really like Remedy, and I hope it's a heavy hitter because Remedy, they always make incredibly high quality games and they just never are commercially successful. Like maybe they just break above the red line a little bit and make a little bit back, but they've never had a blockbuster. They've always eked
It's
by and they've
they've
always made
always been more of
incredibly
a
high quality.
yeah, and they've always been more of a it's like a niche following for a lot of those for people that play a lot of those games. But again, like I said, I'm excited about trying this one out when it launches. Hopefully, maybe it'll be a Game Pass day one. That would be nice. Um, the next game that, of course, we continue to get content. As I mentioned before the show, I'm to the point now where I don't want to take in any more content on it. But that's Exodus. I think this game's going to be a game changer, dude. I really do. Everything that we've seen has been phenomenal. They're not holding anything back as far as hiding stuff from us. We know what the story is. We know what the combat mechanics look like. Obviously, heavy inspiration from Mass Effect, specifically Mass Effect 2, which if you're going to bum Mass Effect stuff, bum it from
That's the one to
2.
do.
Um,
Well,
because a
so
lot of that combat, especially the in cover combat, looked identical to Mass Effect 2, which is not a problem.
no.
Um,
Also, some
so that
fascinating character designs. Like the one that they
yes,
really highlighted this time was the octopus in a mech suit.
yeah, and we all love octopus people at this point,
Yeah,
so
the Last House. If
we're
hey,
all
if
in.
anybody out there, if you've watched the Last House, which I've got something to say about the Last House whenever we get to our entertainment portion, uh,
Okay,
for the third week in a row. But
yeah,
yeah, I'm very intrigued by them. And one thing that they really leaned into in this trailer, but we don't really know how it's going to work in the game, is time. Like we do know that
yeah.
time will be a mechanic in the game, and things
It
will like
feels like
time.
it's going to be our like an antagonist, almost like
Yeah,
an anti-hero.
yeah,
That
like
time will be.
what's the Nolan film? Gravity.
Yeah,
Not Gravity.
not Gravity.
Interstellar. Yeah, where it's
Yeah,
like where there's gonna
Dilution.
be like time dilation things happening, and we've got to we might have to use that to make
Make a
certain decisions.
I always hate. Yeah, I was getting ready to say I always hate it when a game's like, you can do this, but you probably should do this. But I know you're going to want to do this instead. But if you pick one of them, the other one's out,
Can't do the other.
and 188 years are going to pass, no matter what you do, what you decide to do, which begs for a replay, which is what you want when you're a game developer. You want high replay value. And I think this game is going to have an absolute. I think there's going to be people 5 years after the fact going, holy shit. I just
Yeah,
found something I've never seen in this game before.
if they get even like a fraction of the magic that is Mass Effect.
Oh
I
yeah.
will. I don't even know how many times I've replayed the entire Mass Effect trilogy
Oh,
through.
I
So
know I
like,
got over 1,200 hours in the 3 games total.
oh, easy, yeah. So
Yeah.
if they can capture even a fraction of that, like they'll have me replaying that game.
And
I will chase that dragon.
I'm going to tell you I do this with every game, but I am not going to look at anything when it comes to decisions
Oh yeah.
or events. I always the first time I play through a game, it's always as me. This is what I would do. This is the decision I would have made in this situation. This is what I would have said to this person in this situation. And whatever happens, happens. And because I feel like that's going to be, for me, that's going to be my movie, right? That's going to be what I did. And then, of course, being able to watch people after that and go, holy shit, I didn't even think about that.
Or I'm like, I didn't even
But
know that you could get that character in your party, or I didn't even know that
plus
this person could die or whatever.
plus even when you're sitting around with friends, like sitting around with you guys at wherever, at the brewery or whatever, and we're talking about a game and I say something or you say something and either both of us are like, what the fuck, man? I didn't even
Didn't even know that was a
know.
thing.
Yeah. So again, that's what I'm super excited. I love games like that. I love where things are not a foregone conclusion. And this game is designed by design to not be a foregone conclusion.
And
So
it looks
yeah,
great. Like it also has a really interesting art style. Like it's not
yeah,
quite like realism. Like it's not quite like photorealistic. Like there's a little bit of a stylish um
yeah.
touch to the characters, a
It
little bit of an
feels
artistic
soft.
flair. Yeah.
There's a lot of softness to it.
There's a little bit of flair on the characters that I don't know. It looks really unique, really
Yeah,
crisp, really clean. Yeah, super looking forward to it. And with what we know, there's still a lot that we don't know. We don't know like how navigation will work. Like will we get to walk around our ship like we do in Mass Effect? We don't know, and I'm very curious and stoked to find out.
yeah. Those are always big things for me too. The next game comes from, believe it or not, I can't even believe I'm saying this out loud, NBC Game Studios, which I didn't even know was a thing until Gamescom.
I didn't know it was until you called it out. I did not
Yeah.
know this.
So there's a game coming out called 1001 Threads of Mazan. This
Rolls
is a
right off the tongue.
Middle East design art style. It's meant to be a play on 1001 Arabian Nights. Um, Man, I'm going to tell you, I just saw, all I did was see the trailer. I don't know anything else about it. Looks like there's 3 different characters you can play, and you can call upon almost Prince of Persia, like the threads of time to change things. And dude, it just looks good. I'm gonna do some more research on it. That's why I didn't want to bring up
I'm
crazy amounts of it tonight. But man, it looks so good.
I'm very curious because it can always go a couple of different ways, right? You can have something like this where
Yeah,
NBC or whatever just decides, like, I want to make games too. They're making
yeah,
games. I want to make games, and then they just throw some stuff together, and it's just not great. But then you also have times where you get some financial backing. Somebody says, "Well, I want my name to be on it." And you're like, "Okay, yeah, sure. We'll use your name to do that." But they hire like industry vets, really creative people, and then you get stuff like Expedition 33 or Fate of the Old Republic,
yeah,
or Fate of the Republic, all even though Fate of the Republic's not out yet, but I mean it's Casey Hudson. I mean
yeah,
that guy has been around. But anyways, but so there's sometimes where it's just like, hey, let's just do something so we can get games out there, or they actually invest and they get some good people in it. So I hope that that's the thing here where NBC is bankrolling. They want their name on it, but they've gotten some industry people, and they're like, "Yeah, call it whatever you want. Like, just let's make cool games."
yeah. And you're definitely right. So I'm certainly looking forward. The next game is a game that's already been out for years and years. But the trailer for this at Gamescom started out with what looked like a Dollar General knockoff of Ken Watanabe sitting on a park bench on the side of the street, and he lights up a doobie, and he turns his head, and he's sitting next to Snoop Dogg, who starts doing the for shizzles and all that stuff. And then we hear the familiar voice of the handler
See, that
talking
was
to
the
47.
that was the crazy thing is like the crowd at Gamescom didn't cheer until they saw 47.
Right.
Like 40 when they saw
As
47,
if
that's where
Snoop
they I
Dogg
was
wasn't
like,
enough of a pull.
well,
Yeah.
Snoop Dogg, I was still like, what's going on? But as soon as I heard the handler's voice, I was like, oh, he's a new target. But the crowd didn't pick up. It blew my mind that the crowd didn't catch on until they
Yeah.
saw the bald head of Agent 47.
So much like the Division 2, which is also getting new content, by the way,
Jeez.
some of it starting this week. Hitman is getting another, what I'm guessing is an elusive
Elusive
target
target.
in Snoop Dogg. So this ought to be an interesting take. Looks like we're going to be spending some time on the beach, and there's going to be some, in-game media involved and whatnot. But and I'm guaranteeing you the cosmetic will be the green jumpsuit that we saw in the trailer with 47 walking around with his hat backwards. Um, but again, still getting content for World of Assassination, even with Dying Light being out there. And I always think that's phenomenal when a game gets supported this long
First Light,
into its life cycle. So yeah, First Light. Sorry, what did I say?
Dying Light, which is another game, but
Yeah, First Light. Sorry, but First Light. So pretty excited about that.
well, and they did promise
For
that they were not abandoning, World of Assassination. So they are, IOI, they are holding up to that promise.
And then last but not least is technically it's a racing game. It's called Clutch. It's made by the people behind Forza, and it's got a unique gimmick to it. So it takes place on the French Riviera, which includes Monaco. One of the things I found was cool in this dev diary at Gamescom that they talked about. We made a 1-to-1 recreation of every Monaco street. He goes, also, you'll notice the buildings. We didn't just do the thing where you have 5 or 6 buildings in a row and then the same 5 or 6 buildings in a row. Every building in the game is actually in Monaco. And this is a game where there's a brother and sister pair, and they are part of a professional racing team. And during the day, they race professional races on the streets of Monaco, Circuit of Monaco, which is where they're filming the new Ocean's 11, by the way. But at night, they get involved in all kinds of hijinks, just lawless street racing for slips and money and all that bit too. So we still don't have a release window on it, but I'm excited for it because it's racing, and it's two different kinds. I think it hits for both people: the people that like circuit, tight, professional racing, and the people that like loose, Need for Speed style racing are going to, and it's an open world, so you're going to get the best of both worlds. Obviously, we'd have to wait to see when it comes out if it's any good, but hopefully it is good, and I hope
I'm interested in
these
that,
devs
a
sound
little bit of
passionate.
a Need for Speed meets Driver kind of a
Yeah,
vibe. I would be interested to see how that goes. One thing you mentioned, that was the last one before we get on this. I do have one that is not one of the videos listed here, and that is just a bit of a reminder that they threw it out one last hoorah before it releases, and that is the Blood of Dawnwalker. Comes out next week. They had a trailer at Gamescom. Looks sick. Again,
it does.
former devs from CD Projekt Red, which we'll talk about soon. But yeah, still looking great. Still stoked about that. Speaking of replayability, it's still one of those things where I love replayability and I love the choice. And it's like, I guess I've gotten so used to games allowing you to just do everything that you want to do because that's what I want to take out everything in the map. Like, let
Yeah,
me knock out all the question. And Blood of Dawnwalker is one of those where you can't do that. Like, there's like, hey, you've got a time element that you got to deal with. There's 3 activities, you can do 2. And it's like, ugh. So that's going to be rough, but I'm looking forward to having that decision forced upon me. It's one of those things that I'm going to hate it in the moment, but I'm going to love the experience after it's done.
I like the idea that because it does, that life has consequences, man, and we don't always get what we want. Um,
But if you try sometimes.
but if you try sometimes, you'll get what you need. But anyway, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Another driving game coming out that I think is going to hit on so many levels and people aren't ready for it is Stuntman Hollywood coming out. I wish I would have had the time to get the trailer ready for this one, but this week or Gamescom, they announced the next movie addition to that game, which is Jurassic Park. And of course, it has the soundtrack. It showed them driving, trying to escape Jurassic Park during a dinosaur stampede while the island's burning down. So it looks like it's Jurassic World, whatever the second Jurassic World movie. It looks like
At this,
that's the one that's
lost
taking
track at
place
this
during.
point.
But yeah, it looks great. We're gonna have Fast and Furious, Back to the Future, Miami
I You
Vice.
have showed me some stuff from this game. I've still not gotten a chance to play Stuntman. I've still never played it, and I need to. I need to because I love a lot of these. I love driving games whenever,
Yeah.
especially like the exaggerated driving games.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of these movies that they're doing, especially like Fast and Furious stuff like that. So I need to get in there. I need to do it.
Well, the idea behind this one too is like you're a stuntman in a sequence. So you have certain time limits to hit different marks, just like an actor would in a script, and you get bonuses if you hit it right on. but it'll take away whether you're early or late. So you gotta play it by ear on how you get and where you get to when you get there. So that's the part I'm really looking forward to, and I think that's going to be awesome. But moving on to the multimedia portion of Gamescom, some games to look out for. The first one's a game we've brought up a couple times because we've both played The Ascent, which again had a very, very niche following. It was an isometric top-down shooter.
Cyberpunk.
Yeah, in a cyberpunk setting with incredible depth, both visually and gameplay.
Also had a lot of RPG like elements to it
It
that
did
you would
very
not have
much.
expected.
Yeah, especially with your augments and how you did when you'd go to the Chrome shop or whatever and get that shit done. So, but the game they're working on now is a game called No Law. We're going to share some gameplay with you that was released at Gamescom. But one thing I found cool was the devs talked about they purposely decided to keep the city smaller, to keep the world smaller, and just put more in it.
Which is something that we have talked about numerous times. This has been a
Yes.
drum that you have been beating for a long time. Is like, yeah, like if it's a huge world, but if there's nothing to do in it, that you don't feel the size. Like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if there's nothing to do in it. So yeah, like you've said, focus on a smaller area and just populate it. Make it dense. Put a ton of stuff
I
in there.
I always think of that line from It's the only tearjerker line from Pirates of the Caribbean. It's at World's End when Jeffrey Rush's character is standing on the beach with Johnny Depp, and he's like, the world's just gotten smaller, mate. And Jack Sparrow says the world's not changed. There's just less in it, type of deal. And so I like this idea that they're taking a smaller world and putting a lot in it. And without further ado, this is No Law.
I mean, already you can see Cyberpunk, Blade Runner-esque color palette. So it's like Cyberpunk visuals with Blade Runner color palette.
What have you heard?
Nobody sees him go in.
Good it looks like decent graphics, man.
I mean, it looks like Cyberpunk as well. I mean, it's
Nobody sees him come out.
A lot of hacking, a lot of verticality.
yeah, and again, like this aesthetic, like you said, if anybody has played The Ascent, this just looks like first person Ascent.
The exploding Roomba, whatever that is.
Come on, we can handle one freaking gardener.
And we still don't even really know the story details of this, right? We've
No.
seen
Bulldozer.
Yeah, we've seen like a lot of gameplay and things like that, but we still don't really know the actual drive of the.
But they were talking about some cool mechanics that I think are neat. Is you can kill every weapon vendor in the game. This is one of the things they said. But then you won't have any place to buy weapons, and we're not going to create things for you to buy weapons. You'll have to just deal with it.
I was going to ask if you can just steal the weapons then,
Yeah.
but I guess not.
And then they also talked about you can kill NPCs, and then if you needed them for a quest, you're just screwed. And I love that idea that like if you rage at some point and just accidentally kill somebody you shouldn't have, that you'll pay the price for it.
Somebody can let me know in the comments, but I know that there's a content creator that always, anytime there's like an RPG like game that comes out, he always goes through and he sees how many of the NPCs can be killed. He just tries to kill everybody,
I'd like to know who that is. I don't know who that is,
Yeah,
but that would be funny.
it makes videos about like which ones can and cannot be killed and what impact that does or does not have on the game.
Okay, so the next game, and this is funny because we were talking about it before the show. So we had XCOM, we had XCOM 2, and now we've got Star Wars Zero Company that's made by XCOM creators, and tactics games are making a comeback, folks.
So I was surprised. I just said like last week, because we were talking about Zero Company coming out. I was just like, man, we don't get enough XCOM like we don't get enough tactics games. And
No.
Never have I been more thrilled to be proven wrong. Like, please continue to prove me wrong on this one.
Yeah, and for all you youngins, this is Rainbow Six going back to its roots because it used to be basically a tactics game. Here we go. Woo.
So at first, I wasn't super interested in this, you know, but then I saw that perspective right there. I was like, oh, you have my attention. Like, this is the XCOM.
This is it. These tangos are in for a surprise. Take your positions, team.
Yeah, once I saw what they were doing, I was like, okay, I'm on board.
6 on station.
I'm hoping they bring
Let's
back
show
some
Carrie
operators
that
from the
Rainbow's back.
original
I think they
Rainbow
will.
Six too.
I think they will. But I love that, you know, we've got so we had the breaching charge. We'll see later in the trailer, you know, blowing holes through walls to use those
and they
to
must
navigate
be planning
through.
something bigger.
So,
I love the war room.
On the agency
yeah,
bombings.
which
There's
is
no
even
time
more
to
like
waste.
XCOM, right? To have like the
Yeah.
command
We've contacted
center.
Rainbow's former operators.
You just have to
There you
choose
go,
which
Rainbow's
ones.
former operators.
Dude, this looks fantastic.
Yeah, looks great. I mean, we got 2 birds, 1 stone there. Overwatch. So
Breaching.
that's something I'm stoked about right there, is being able to make a path where one does not exist.
We've got active hostiles all around, team. Move fast and stick to cover.
I'm seeing increased activity across all channels.
And the map, that looks
Want us to
straight up
put out more
XCOM as
fires?
well. The whole
Yeah.
world map and looking at threats. So we've got some tech to help us out. And I mean, this is a Rainbow Six game. This is Tom Clancy. You know they're going to be putting the funding behind this one.
Oh yeah.
I'm very curious as to when in 2027. But yeah, very excited for that. It's been a while since I have been into. I play a lot of Tom Clancy games, but Rainbow Six has just been one of those I haven't played in years. Like the Rainbow Six Siege I've never even played. But Rainbow Six Tactics, man, I will be there day one. I will be playing that game.
I think my favorite of all time is always going to be Vegas, and you can just add on Vegas too. Vegas and Vegas 2 were just phenomenal games back in the day, and it really one of the few first multiplayer games that was stable on the OG Xbox and the Xbox 360. So yeah, looking forward to that. Pretty excited, and folks, we're going to have some Zero Company stuff here later on in the show. But
Yeah,
the
we've got
next
a little
one
bit
that
of
I want to
hands-on with it.
yeah, one of the next games that's coming out, and then I don't know if this is coming out on console, and I wish it was, and I'm sorry, you know, for console players if it's not, but for all us folks that are Game of Thrones fans, War for Westeros, which went silent for a long time, made a big deal with a new trailer at Gamescom, and this is a real-time strategy, but it's got RPG elements in that all the heroes, you know, Jaime Lannister, Arya Stark, they all have their own skills that were based, and this game is based on the show. So it's important to note that too, and not the books.
The Iron Throne stands empty.
Footage is a mix of gameplay and in-engine cutscenes.
Come on, man.
This is Rob Stark there.
Try to defend yourself.
Nice. Wildfire.
Wildfire.
Or Dragonfire as well. Yeah.
The fate of Westeros
Stand with me!
is yours to decide.
It looks really, really good.
Game of Thrones. War for Westeros.
Definitely
Early
intriguing.
2027.
Did not show us a ton, but what they did show looked very good.
So yeah, definitely looking for, and not, you know, any, like, I'm always looking for Game of Thrones content, man, because it's so good. That's why I've been playing that mod on Mountain Blade Bannerlord 2, which just got a new update, and it looks insane. So it'll be nice to see that.
Do you know where this takes place in the show? Is this like a sort of like revisionist history, or does it take place
Yes.
during a gap? Okay, so it's like an alternate version of what takes place in the show. Okay.
From what I understand, it's starting out where the show started out, and then it's up to you to decide how history plays out.
Okay.
So kind of almost like a what if in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Which is what they did with the Dune game. Like, I know the Dune game that they did, it was like a whole, like, you know, instead of Paul Atreides, it was his sister that was born, and
Yes.
like this whole sort of like revisionist sort of conceptual thing. That way, they didn't fuck with the canon.
Correct. Yeah, and I think that's the way to go when you're talking about a franchise that has so many followers. It's hard to make anybody happy.
Yeah, because I did notice
Um,
that Jamie seemed to still have both hands. Spoiler alert.
yes. Spoiler alert. The next one, staying in the fantasy vein, and we didn't have this on our bingo card. We all knew that we were getting an expansion to The Witcher 3.
This
But
is how you do it, man.
this is how you treat your fans, what I'm about to show you.
This,
But we are also getting a full revamp of Witcher 3.
yeah, we will save the big stinger at the end for the end,
Yeah.
where everybody cheered. Where I'm like, oh, this is, like you said, this is how you treat your players, man. So this is again, gotta love the backstory of CD Projekt Red. They had the bungled launch of Cyberpunk, and then they have done everything to make good on their mistake. So
Dude, look at these graphics, man.
2015. This game came out in 2015. They're revamping the graphics. They're remastering everything. We're going to see some of the things. So we're going to go upgraded visuals. Also, I mean, it looks insane. Like the lighting.
Also, you get the other two expansions for free now.
Enhanced combat, traversal and movement, which is something where they already had two different traversal modes and movement modes because of preferences. Yeah, so we can more clear, sign stuff here. We got the horse thing, monster behaviors. So that'll be more dynamic fights. I mean, the skill tree looks so much better. Transmog. How long have we
thank you, Jesus.
begged for transmog? Finishers, and then this whole list of improvements. So the previous expansions.
Which Blood and Wine I felt was the best one for sure.
Making this thing look current, and then free upgrade for all current owners. I was thinking, whenever I was seeing this, I was like, I hope that they'll do what other games do, where they'll give us a cap to like.
Oh, we're not done.
Didn't say I was afraid.
Dude, this looks insane.
Absolutely ridiculous,
And I got to tell you, I did not want to get drugged back into this game, but it's going to happen.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Same.
I have spent so much time in this world.
Chains, man.
Give it blood.
Some God of War action here.
Ghost Rider, man, just rolling the chain.
Yeah, Songs of the Past, the next expansion, the last expansion. So yeah, whenever I was watching this, I was like, man, I hope that they'll allow us to just like buy this for like $10 if we already own the thing. We can get the upgrade for like $10 or something. And then whenever they're like free upgrade to all current owners, dude, that's amazing. And whenever you see the whole scrolling list of all the things they've done, like we said, we knew they were working on an expansion. It's been one of the worst kept secrets for quite some time before they even announced it. But to see that crazy list of expansion of enhancements from traversal and combat and graphics and all these other things, this is not something that they just did for an expansion. It is very clear that they just never stopped working on this game. They've just continued to iterate, and this game, again, more than 10 years after its release, is still like cranking out bangers, dude.
Yeah, I mean, and it without a doubt to me, it's one of the top 10 of all time.
Hands down
of any genre.
It's a must play. It's a must play.
Yeah, and just so faithful to the literary material that backed it. But Yeah, definitely looking forward to that. Up next, still in the fantasy realm, obviously huge D&D fan here. Russ just recently completed, well, not recently, it's been a little bit, completed his first D&D campaign where he played a warlock, and a half elven warlock at that, who was treated really bad by one vendor in town for being a half elf.
Yeah,
And you know,
little bit of sword and sorcery racism. You know, what are you gonna do?
and if you don't know anything about D&D lore, specifically warlocks, they have a patron who's usually a demonic entity that they owe allegiance to, and that the most common move of the warlock is the Eldritch Blast.
It's a handy
And
tool.
we both saw this trailer from Gamescom, and we both thought the same thing, that anytime this chick got in trouble, she had to bust out that Eldritch Blast, which was not unlike what Russ did at my table when he played in this campaign. But anyway, this is the trailer, the gameplay trailer, the newest one for Dungeons and Dragons Warlock.
Have your deepest desires come true? Not the one that matters. Can you not do more?
So this is one where I was, as we get deeper into this and we see gameplay, there was something about it where I didn't quite trust it. It kind of seemed like
Really?
pre-rendered, something that was like made to look like gameplay. But I don't know. I would love to be wrong, because
I do
hope
love
this is
that
good.
they put Tasha as her patron. I think that we don't get enough Tasha, and she is a unique character in D&D.
See, I don't know enough about D&D to know who Tasha is.
And I know I catch a hard time when you don't have the option of playing a male character, but this story, it just fits, much like Tomb Raider. And so I am definitely looking forward to playing whoever this
Do we
girl
know
is.
that you don't get to choose?
We don't. And I'm just assuming from this trailer, but I'm okay with it. Her combat style is fantastic looking, and this setting is, I mean, it's amazing.
Find raw magic.
I love how a lot of these games are going with this really high fantasy, like we talked about with, what was the other one we talked about? Oh, that had the soft, like Exodus, right?
Yeah.
And this has really good look to it. Look at this.
Yeah, the art direction is definitely a standout of this, where it's like it's noticeably different. Like you see this game and you know it's this game. You will not confuse it with a similar sword and sorcery game. There's just something about it in the way that they've designed it, the way the characters look, that it just looks very unique and distinct.
I love how it looks like she's actually casting spells too, which is cool. Instead of
we will see it
being
even.
a given.
We will see that on Crack here in a little bit, where it's like really goes into detail on a cast, which I was like, I wonder, like how often that will actually happen, because I was intrigued.
Or did you see like the alchemy table thing where she literally had to
That's
mix
what I mean.
the potion? Oh, okay.
That's what I'm talking about. So whenever we get to that, I'm like, how often will we actually see that? Because that was really interesting to like really see her put this stuff together.
There's a beholder, which is a D&D mainstay. Looks like she stopped time, which I thought was cool.
It is interesting though that this is like an action game. Given that it is D&D, that it's not turn-based. So I'm curious at where obviously they're going to put some of the DNA in there. I'm curious to see where some of that the D&D
there it is.
gameplay DNA is.
She charged up a double blast of Eldritch on that one.
See, that looked great.
I love how her sword is an ethereal sword, like she can just call upon it. I think that's neat.
Hey, and it
frees
means
her
that
up.
you don't have to worry about the taking it off the back animation. So this is the part that I thought about where I was like, okay, how often will we see this? But I was super intrigued with her putting this whole thing together. So here we go. We got a board and we see the spell cast like start to finish. And I'm also wondering, like, will we have to gather these things? Will we have had to have like looted a body to make sure that we have the correct eye?
I'm wondering, do we need to learn what these things do before we just throw shit in the cups?
Or just throw
Sort of
shit
like
in the
with
cups
Witcher,
and see what it
how
does.
you just with Witcher, you had to eat something in order
Yeah.
to get, you know.
Am I gonna
You're
get
like,
sick?
shit, that just killed me.
So there was something so smooth about this that made me suspicious, where I was like, I almost felt like it was a pre-rendered scene made to look like in-game combat.
Is it coming up?
No, it's this right here.
Oh,
Like it's what we're seeing, and then especially whenever she fights the big guy. But I just felt it just seems so smooth.
well, to me this looks pretty legit, so I didn't think that at all. But I'll definitely key in on when she.
Well, I
fights
mean, like I
that
said,
big guy.
it's just because it looks so good. It just looks so.
Oh
clean.
yeah.
Like, okay, so that guy was hovering. She finished this guy off. That guy's still in the air. She throws this. It just looks so slick. Like, if it really is that, I mean, that's going to be amazing. It's just,
Yeah.
to be so smooth, it just, you don't see that often.
Eldritch Blast.
Whoop.
Nice. Whatever that was awesome.
Yeah, see, it looks super clean. I mean, I hope this is legit, because
Yeah.
this will be a big deal if it is this smooth.
Yeah, man, that is I mean, I'm gonna play it, dude. It's done, so I guarantee I'll play it. But man, you're right. It looks incredibly smooth, and
Especially, I think
it
that's
looks
like the
ready to
first
play.
outing from that developer, right?
Oh yeah,
So, but again, like we said, could just be a bunch of industry vets bankrolled by a lot of money. But it just looks so good. It's just like you had talked about with the GTA 6 saying, "Oh, captured on PlayStation 5." It's just we've
Yeah.
gotten so used to not trusting what we're shown. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Like, it just looks so clean. I'm like, can this even be achievable? How smooth this is, you know?
yeah. And I think Cyberpunk is the one that really took us over the edge and ruined us on that when they were
Certainly
first
didn't do
showing
any
videos
favors.
of that. Yeah, it didn't help
Because
out.
it was somebody that we trusted. It was somebody that we trusted.
But this next game, not even playing around, letting us know what they're playing it on and what they're playing it at. And this is probably one of our most anticipated titles of 2027. And this was Fable at Gamescom. I tailored this footage because it was really long. It was 30 minutes. So this is a small fragment of the Gamescom coverage of Fable, which technically I guess is a remake. Obviously starring Haley Atwell as the main antagonist, Isabel. So this is a small piece. And he's playing as a female character here.
Stray too
yeah.
far from daddy, hero.
Yeah, she's just left her family's
Let
home
me guess.
in this
You're
sequence.
lost.
She was married, had kids.
Had a few too many pints, actually. You smug git. That's quite funny. I tell you what, though, it takes
Facial
things, I think, for
animations
me in
leave
my
a
own
bit to be
poor house.
desired.
Humphrey
Yeah.
used to be like that.
A little
back
bit
in
of the
day,
Bell's palsy,
before he
but
shit the bed and fell apart.
But I love the dialogue.
Not
It's
that
so
I
real,
haven't enjoyed
gritty.
watching the guild slowly bleed out. Well, you're bleeding out next. Now you're speaking my language.
This hero causing you grief, boss.
Nothing you lot can't sort out. Humphrey should have warned you not to fuck with me, hero. Bit late now. Sort them out.
Where's your kill now?
so yeah, there we go. Took an arrow to the knee.
And he acted like he took an arrow to the knee. The leg went out first.
Yeah, good old Skyrim reference.
It's time to try out our new spell, Blades, which is
Boom.
great for crowd control.
I love that.
So this is a thing. Whenever we saw the first trailer, because we had thought this game was
currently
canceled,
playing
and
on
then
Legend Mode, one of
months
our harder
back we saw that
difficulties,
first trailer,
which for
and the
players who want a
magic
more demanding combat
looked
challenge.
great.
And I'll need to make
And
use of all the tools in my arsenal
going
if I
along
want
with
to
that,
succeed.
all the spells look incredible. Like the various
Tools that include new
effects,
spells,
looks
abilities, weapons, and upgrades, all of which combine to
Just the-
create a loadout
The
tailored to how
defense
you
she's
want to
mounting
deal with
looks
combat
ultra realistic. It's not all block and parry. A lot of times it's just dodging or literally running to get out of the way.
I also like how smoothly she can transition, or how quickly she can transition between like bow and sword.
I love how weighty the parry feels. Like even though she parries, it still pushes her back because that's a big old ass axe.
Ooh, love that. And as Jay said, you can see in the bottom of the screen there, it says work in progress PC build ultra graphics settings. That was present throughout the entire thing. So like Jay mentioned, they were very upfront about it, which is to be commended.
Yeah.
Though that said, I have no doubt that it'll look great on consoles as well.
Yeah.
Not this good, but good. Whoa.
Now I've got the guild deeds, I need to get them back to Humphrey. Hopefully, that'll shake off his hangover for long enough to help me save my village. But we don't have time for that today. So I've shown you Fable's style weaving combat, and how you need to use your whole arsenal to deal with enemies on different difficulties.
I like how they're referring
We
to
saw
it
these
as
spells in
style
action, and
weaving
unlocked one
combat
from the
where you
skill
can
tree.
weave stuff
I met
together
Humphrey
and
and recovered the
come
guild
up with a
deeds.
build that
We saw
suits
how even the little choices
your style. Because
affect
Yeah,
people's
so
there was
she
some
had
stuff
a-
in there I
and
liked,
build
and there
your
was some
wider
stuff in there I was like,
reputation.
I'm probably not going to use that.
Yeah, she had some
We explored a
spells,
small slice of
you know, some
Bowerstone,
dodging,
but
some
there is
sword
far more of the
slashing,
city
some
still
bows
to
and
discover.
arrows. You know, it's
Beyond
like
Look
all
at
mixed
this
together.
city,
the wide
bro.
world of Albion, where each choice
And
shapes your
I
journey.
would bet that is,
Reputation is everything.
just from that
Fairy
build
tale
and then the
endings
fact that it's
are
Fable, I
never
mean, we know that
guaranteed.
there's going to be dense.
Fable launches February
dense
23rd,
lore in there.
2027. Cannot
You know, I
wait
remember
for
the
you
first
to
time I
play.
went into Novigrad in The Witcher, and I was like, man, this is awesome. It's a fully realized city. This here looks incredible, though, man.
It does.
So, yeah. So back to our galaxy far, far away. This time not for Zero Company, but for another racing title. The guys that did Burnout, some of those guys got together and formed their own company, and they decided to bring Star Wars Racer in the form of Star Wars Galactic Racer to the screen, and not just give us pods, but give us other vehicles and make a roguelike RPG out of it. And this is Star Wars Galactic Racer. This is the latest footage, and again, kudos to whoever did the visuals, because this looks phenomenal.
And they have been singing Jay's song since they were announced.
My name is Matt Webster,
Yeah.
and I'm a co-founder and CEO at Fuse Games, and we're here to talk about Star Wars Galactic Racer, the high-speed, runs-based reinvention of racing set in the Star Wars galaxy.
We're combining our love of racing games and Star Wars, and we're doing this with a fresh take on the racing genre.
We've got a uniquely innovative run-based campaign mode. It's a campaign mode with real
I do love how
depth,
almost any
and
time we
breadth.
have a developer
And we
and they're
think
talking
that
about their
combined
game,
with racing
there's
is
always
a
at
match
least
made
one
in
of the
heaven,
guys
because
that they're
racing
talking
games
to where I'm
thrive
like,
on replayability.
did nobody
The more
tell
I play
you
with the
that they
vehicle,
were
the better I get,
filming
the
a
more I can
documentary
drive from
today?
mastery
Like,
to second level.
did nobody
You're
give you
racing
the
with
heads
three
up that you were going to
speeders
be
on the track at
talking
the
to
same time,
somebody?
cutting each other up, taking different racing lines, using the different features of the vehicles.
You're probably familiar with
Like this
land
guy where it's like, did
speeders,
nobody
which
tell
we
you
have
maybe
in
do
there,
your
and
hair
in our
before you
game,
came to
they're
the
all about
office?
drifting and
Yeah.
boosting.
It's all about
So
keeping your
he's
foot
talking
on
about how the
gas,
land
holding
speeders,
speed
like,
through
this is what I was
corners,
talking about
drifting
earlier with the
around
rock,
them.
paper, scissors.
The speed
They're
of
good
bikes
at
is the
drifting
upscale spectrum.
and
It's fast,
boosting,
it's
but
flashy, it's
that's
fragile.
their
Got a
thing.
fantastic ability where it can slow down into corners and store that kinetic energy and then do a kinetic burst out of the corner.
That's
And it's
sick.
all
Yeah,
about
and
kind
that's
of
the speeder
threading
bikes
needle
that
in
have the
thin
kinetic
lines.
burst.
And then our final vehicle is something that's brand new to Star Wars, and it's called the Skim Speeder. We've designed this in collaboration with Lucasfilm Games.
That thing
and
looks
this
awesome.
vehicle is more akin to a lower level racing plane.
Acrobatic airplanes that gracefully handle corners until they need to flip up onto a knife edge.
The Skim Speeder is perhaps the most elegant of our vehicles, with its carving, banked turns, as well as its ability to roll up onto a knife edge and pull high G maneuvers around the tightest of turns.
Strapping into a skim speeder is a absolute thrill ride.
Being in your
these
wide,
maps look
proud profile,
fantastic.
gracefully sweeping through the tracks, and then snapping up onto that knife edge and cutting into the apex. The sound design is fantastic, and then the visuals on top of it of how dramatic the change on the screen is.
Our audio team have done a fantastic job on making the Skim Speeder feel like an authentic Star Wars vehicle.
Making a new vehicle in the Star Wars galaxy is an amazing opportunity. So we collaborated deeply with Lucasfilm Games to make something that felt uniquely Star Wars.
All three of those speeders have different racing lines, and it's where they intersect that things get interesting. This is where the drama happens.
And then, of course, we've got the pinnacle racing vehicle in Star Wars Galaxy.
There it is. That's what I was
pod
talking about
racer.
earlier.
We knew we couldn't make a Star Wars racing game without including the iconic pod races.
Because I remember when it was
Sense of
first announced, we were like,
speed is
do
a
they even
hugely
have pod
important
racers?
aspect of the game.
Right.
And
then
it's
later
something
they
that
showed
we
that we
poured
knew.
a lot of love and attention into. When you then step into a pod racer, the speeds are absolutely wild.
The best thing about seeing people pick the controller up is that immediate smile on your face. Wow, this is fast, but this is controllable speed.
Look at
And when
that
I make a mistake, I have this wonderful audio-visual payoff
Yep.
inside the crashing
You did.
that's expected, but fair. Star Wars Galactic Racer is coming October 6th on PlayStation 5,
October
Xbox
6th.
Series
There you go,
X
October,
and S,
so-
and PC. Thank you for watching, and enjoy the rest of the show.
So yeah, we had Zero Company, Blood of Dawn Walker, Wolverine, Galactic Racer, GTA 6.
And now the last one on the list, which you did not see, is we got a new trailer for The Expanse.
Yeah, you said this was somehow hidden away where I'm like, I did not. I somehow this completely evaded my attention.
Yeah, I had to look for this one, but this is The Expanse. This is technically called the new Ganymede trailer, but this is the first time they've really shown the proto molecule folks. So enjoy. One thing I've got to, bring up is I hope we're not walking around full battle rattle all the time and all of our armor and stuff. I hope we get to, put a ball cap and a t-shirt on.
I suspect we will, because I mean that was the whole thing. Even in the show, whenever there was downtime, where they were in the ship, and even in Mass Effect, which is obviously taking heavy
Look at that.
inspiration from. I have to assume there'll be times where, like I said, we're just like chilling, we're in t-shirts, whatever. Because even in the demo, we were in armor, in the space station.
Well, that's definitely trouble.
Yeah, but if you're going to give me Miller's, dude, these proto molecule guys look crazy.
That's a good point. If they're going to give us Miller's hat and everything, we've got to have some
give
time.
me a good reason to use it.
Yeah, we gotta have time whenever we're not all armored up and wearing a helmet.
But again, that's yet another game that it looks great. It looks gorgeous.
Again, this is so stoked about this. And the demo, the beta, only just made us even hungrier for it. I'm still so stoked about the Expanse and what Owlcat's doing. Yeah, I mean, that and Exodus, again, you and I both have an immense, deep love for Mass Effect, and so anything that kind of like gives us that vibe, scratches that itch, while BioWare seems to be incapable of replicating it. I'm all for it.
Well, that concludes my Gamescom coverage, man, because it was a crazy show. There was so much I didn't get to show tonight, and my hats off to Keeley and the crew. They put together a great show this year.
I was
it was
surprised.
really well done.
I was I really thought like we're this close to the end of the year, like they'll probably show some
You
stuff that
phone it in.
yeah. Like the big thing, they'll save the big things for the end of the year, and I mean they will. There's going to be plenty of big things at the end of this year, but I was very surprised at what they did show. I mean the Witcher, the announcement that's going to be free, a lot of this other stuff that they showed. It was a really great showcase, and they did a good job.
Yeah, yeah, they did. And folks, not to end it on the game portion of this on outside the show, but obviously today we had a big release in Star Wars Zero Company, which is the XCOM like tactics game that came out for Star Wars.
XCOM born.
I've got my first 10 minutes. It doesn't have a lot of fighting. It's just literally the first 10 minutes of the game, and I've got it tailored down to about 5.5 minutes to avoid getting into all the crunchy stuff. And folks, I'm going to tell you, you're not ready for this. It doesn't. We were talking about before the show that you played XCOM, and yeah, when you were in your hub and you were looking at one of your soldiers, and they were kind of detailed. But you'd get out there on the field, you could have cared less what they looked like.
Yeah, you like
were
put a
just trying to
tattoo
stay
on them,
alive.
and then get out on the field. Like, what does that tattoo matter?
Yeah. But this game, this takes detail on a game that doesn't need detail to a whole new level. So I'm just going to throw this up there, and we can talk. You can talk about your experience so far. While we're going
it's
through
important to note that a lot of the people that worked on the XCOM games worked on this game, and you can tell the DNA is, immediately there. If you were comfortable, it was almost frustrating because you jump in, and I already I'd played XCOM. I immediately felt at home. And so I was frustrated because through the tutorials, it basically handholds you to where it's like whenever it first starts the tutorial, you can move and you can shoot. And I'm like, but I know I can do Overwatch. I know I can do all this other stuff. And so it was almost frustrating because, it played so similar and you felt so at home that you knew all the stuff that you truly could do. And you couldn't do it through the tutorial thing as it opened it up.
And I just want to say I was inspired by Fable's footage from Gamescom, so I'm going to show myself putting my PC on Ultra for this. So this is going to be played on PC at Ultra settings.
What class or specialty did you choose for your Hawks character?
Gunslinger.
So I was between Gunslinger
and
Sniper
Scoundrel.
and Scoundrel, and then ultimately went. Then I was like, I whittled it down to Scoundrel and Sniper, and then I ultimately went with Sniper.
I went with Gunslinger because I get the 2 shots, which I was pretty happy about. But again, we have a fully realized story, which XCOM, that was one of XCOM's biggest weaknesses. And we talked about this, and I felt like XCOM's narrative kind of wrote itself. Yeah, because it was just an alien invasion. This one, you need a narrative because it is a Star Wars story. So basically the gist of this is Hawks, the guy you play, was part of a clone squadron that had a scandal that was covered all across the media in Star Wars. And so he decided to go solo and build his own company called Zero Company.
Bit of privateering.
And right now this Republic officer needs a team for a job. So
heroes for hire, if you will.
Yeah. So there was my guy. I just ended up picking and I went with the green from the 41st clone because that was my favorite clone trooper squadron.
So
they're exactly what we've been
but yeah, I was blown away by how much like XCOM this was. I don't know why it was such a surprise, but obviously they've revamped a lot of the controls. There's like the radial menu and stuff like that you contend with now. But yeah, I don't know. What was your immediate feeling as far as once you dove in? How at home did you feel after from your experience with XCOM?
It's funny. My first actual felt reference was from Shadowrun, which I played way before I played XCOM. But again, dude, having my 3 action points, it felt like I was playing like a tabletop RPG. much like D&D without the dice, because that's basically what tactics games are. Hey, you've got 3 points to spend. You can move twice and shoot once. You can shoot twice and move a little bit. You know, that type of deal. So yeah, I felt right at home. It took me a little while to get the user interface down.
Yeah, the user interface is a bit of a trip, especially whenever I'm used to like the everything being on a scripted bottom.
Right.
The radio menu is a bit of some getting used to, but easy enough to get used to. And
this opening was awesome, by the way.
It was. Yeah, everything feels very Star Wars. They nailed the vibe, like all the locations, all the environments. They absolutely feel like Star Wars. But yeah, and one thing, I mean, spoilers, I don't know if we'll get to this part here, but as it goes through the tutorial, you know, one thing that it highlights is a character will die in the tutorial, and it is unavoidable. It is scripted, it is constructed in order for this person to die, just so that you are aware that it is possible for people to die. Unless you turn it off. Which, I hate losing people, but I did not turn it off. I assume you also will not be turning it off, Jay. The permanent.
Yeah, although I end this video way before that happened. This video is just going to show me march up to the wall at the very beginning of this tutorial, and it's going to end. Because I didn't want to show any of that.
But whenever you do it, though, you're going to leave permadeath on, right?
Permadeath is on, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, they give you the option to turn it off, but it's like, you know, as much as I hate losing people, that's part of the XCOM
That's
thing.
part of the game.
You feel the loss, you know.
So I know I didn't show it, but yes, I'm playing permadeath on normal difficulty right here. But it's about this video is about to end anyway. So yeah, but right here I was like, holy shit, it's XCOM.
And I will say, so far, I mean, granted, we're very early in. We're very, very early in. So far in what I've had with it, I did not miss the fog of war, because obviously what we've gotten so far is very enclosed. I have not encountered a mission yet where it's like you're in a large unknown area and it's like, okay, go in. So I don't know yet. I haven't played enough variable environments to know if I'm willing to give up on this fog of war thing, but I did not miss it in what little I have gotten to play thus far today.
Yeah, and I'm hoping one of our main components of next week's episode is our review of this game. Obviously, we won't be finished with it, but we'll have enough
progress.
We'll have enough data to, because I'm looking forward to getting into the multi-classing, trying that out. Because you know, part of me is like gunslinger medic, because the medic has a lot of really cool features that you wish all the other classes had. I tell you what was funny is the main default class assault did not interest me at all, and neither did the whatever the heavy was called. I forgot what it was called.
I think it's called heavy.
Bulwark or heavy, something like that. Anyway, I didn't like it. Mine was really between gunslinger and medic. Although I love scoundrel, because part of me wants to really. I'm not going to use that character, the one I just showed you guys. I'm going to create another character, but I really wanted to take that, like he's really just disenfranchised from what he experienced in the Clone Wars, and like have partial clone parts and, you know, armor wise, and then have my own thing going on. Because I really think that's where he is in his life. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to getting into that and possibly talking about, you know, where we are now in the game next week, and being able to give a more qualified review of it. But I just wanted to show you guys a sneak peek of it tonight, because I think a lot of people will sleep on this game because it's tactics. Those types of games scare people until they get into them, and then once they get into it, it's like Baldur's Gate.
I would be into it until I actually play. I didn't remember what made me finally play XCOM, but it was never something I thought would appeal to me. And then I played the first XCOM, and it hooked me.
Oh yeah, it's like when Baldur's Gate came out. I remember Alex, my son, it's like, Dad, I don't play turn-based stuff. And then we were playing D&D pretty much, you know, whatever it was, every other week or once a month. And so I think he learned through the tabletop, hey, turn based isn't bad. And so he tried Baldur's Gate and he ended up playing it way further than I did. I think he's already finished it a couple times. But I do that thing that it's the big meme where, well, I made it to Baldur's Gate. Time to start new character number 168. Because I've done that, so I'm in that group.
Well, I there's a lot of things that this game does that I have not seen other tactics games do, like the ability to just like walk around in the environment. Like whenever
yes,
you do your little combat scenario in XCOM, you'd just go fly back to
extracted,
your command. Yeah, you just fly back to your command center and then do whatever. Here, like if that's what it calls for, you can continue to walk. You'll walk and you can interact with other characters. You can actually walk around these different environments. So far, the command center, as it were, isn't just like a separate screen where you're just moving a cursor around to different things. You are as a character walking around in the third person. You can still go to
right,
all the places. You can see the barracks. You can see the med bay that you can build out. You can see your memorial wall. You do all of this stuff while still interacting with all of your allies like an RPG, like a traditional RPG.
right,
Whenever you're at your base or whatever, so they're really again, it's the same people that made XCOM. They're really sort of advancing that that play and blending in a lot of RPG like elements in the best possible way. So I really do like that, and I think that gives me hope as we get further into it, especially as hard as they're leaning into some of these RPG elements. Where one of the things that we had speculated could be possible with the removal of the fog of war, because like we said, there's some parts where it makes sense and some parts where it doesn't. Where it's like you should be able to like look across a flat valley and
yeah,
see something. But so if they're leaning into this RPG type thing, like something like Baldur's Gate, where there's not a fog of war, but you can walk around town and you don't know that there's an attacker there until you actually lock eyes with them. I'm hoping that's what happens here, where
yeah, me too.
we can see the surroundings, but if somebody hasn't if we haven't actually seen somebody, they are invisible. So we basically have the fog of war without having the fog of war, where we still can't see them until we first actually get line of sight, but we still see the surroundings.
Okay, yeah, and yeah, I'm looking forward to just pushing through this one because it looks like a really cool game.
And before we move on to the the entertainment other parts of this, I do want to just point out I was very happy. Uh, you, me, and Redbeard, we killed the Predator. We finally took the Predator down in
Yeah,
the revamped Ghost Recon Wildlands that they just did that big update for. I don't know how many hours and how many attempts it took, but we finally
yeah,
got that motherfucker.
yeah, yeah. Let's not discuss how many times it took. Let's just, although we're not alone. I've noticed on social media, it's like, hey, I'm about to head out for my 4,000th hour of me and my buddies trying to take down the Predator, and you know, that Joker wasn't playing around this time, and it was a fun time.
Yeah, so and now we get to we'll still probably do some of that, but obviously a lot of time is going to be dedicated to Zero Company. But all right, moving on to the entertainment portion, movies and TV and such. I did want to point out, so I mentioned I did want to talk a little bit about The Last House. So 2 weeks ago, I watched The Last House, and I was like, this might be the worst movie I've ever seen.
I
Next to
can't believe we've
Prometheus.
now devoted 3 episodes to the
Well,
shittiest
that's
movie ever
that's where
made.
I'm going with this. So I watched it.
Oh,
I complained. I hated it. I hated it, and I shat on it to such a degree that you were like, "I have to see this. I have to see
yeah.
what's going on here." Then you last week had your rant after watching it and
Oh.
shat on it to such a degree that then my son has now
My
watched
son watched it
the
too.
movie. So I'm like,
Yeah.
we are gonna hate this thing into a sequel if we're not careful. Like
Yeah.
we are going to like have so many people hate watching this thing that they're going to fund another one.
Did your son hate it though?
Yes.
Okay, so my son did not hate it.
I am disappointed in your son.
Well, that's on you. And I've always maintained with my kids that I'm not going to judge them for anything that they like or dislike. But
I might judge on this one.
he this is what he said. He's like, it was not good.
This is okay. At least that
And
is valid. That is a
you
valid
know how
perspective.
Alex is anyway. He was like, he goes, here's the thing, it was not good. However, it was not nearly as bad as you said it was. And then I brought up the plot holes. And then he countered the plot holes. And I'm not going to tell you that all of his counters were plausible, but a few of them were. And so I said, okay, son, I can see where you're coming from. I still think it's the shittiest movie I've ever seen in my life. And he goes, okay. And then that was it. That was the end of it. That was the end of the conversation. But yeah, I can't believe both of our sons decided to watch it. That's hilarious.
Yeah,
But
Izzy hated it. But yeah, I'm like, man, we are going to
it
like
was
out through sheer spite. We are going to
force of
hate this
spite.
thing into full funding a sequel.
Yeah, we are going to full fund a sequel. That's going to happen.
So yeah, like enough people. We have garnered even more views from hate and our despising of this show than we ever would have gotten by recommending it.
I just want to say that, assuming you're done with The Last House, I had a coworker recommend. In
so.
fact, I had two coworker recommendation to watch a show, and it's the new show by the Duffer Brothers, and it's called The Burrows.
I have it on my list. I have not watched.
I have watched the first 2 episodes, and they were both right. It is fantastic. I don't think it's as good as another show I've been watching lately, which is Stewart Saves the World. But it is very good. It is it's almost like Stranger Things for older people. I don't know how else to describe it really.
Although I guess the Duffer Brothers, that might give it a little bit of armor, because I'm so scared. Because what was that movie that you recommend? Not movie, sorry, the show. That was like the waterfront town with like the family that was that owned the restaurant, but was also sort of like underground criminals.
Oh, what was that even called?
I don't remember, but you recommended it, and then I loved it, and then they didn't.
That was it.
And I was like,
yeah,
come on, you're like, just renew
I'm
something that I like
it.
once. Just renew something that I like once. Netflix.
Yeah, I'm still pissed about that. There's been a few shows like that. There was a weird show with Chris Hemsworth's wife, Pataki or whatever her name is, called Tidelands, and they literally lived in a compound of. They were mermaids, modern day mermaids. And then and this took place in Australia or New Zealand or something. Then there were drug dealers outside of this compound in the regular part of town. And that's a whole mermaid drug dealer. It is the weirdest. You can't stop watching it when you watch it, dude. Watch an episode of it. It is a weird.
Well,
it's called Tidelands. It's
I'll have
really
to check it
weird
out.
show.
Well, there is a similar weird movie that a lot of people hated, but I loved. We've talked about it before. We've talked about it on this show before, and it was greenlit for a sequel, and then Will Smith slapped a guy, and it killed the whole project, and that was the sequel to Bright. That was something I had actually wanted for a long time, was the sort of sword and sorcery, like classes and races in the modern setting.
Yeah, it was Shadowrun, man.
Yeah, and it got greenlit for a sequel. Everything was moving forward, but slowly, and then Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, and then everything ground to a halt.
There was another movie in that vein. It wasn't the same, but it was called Power, I think, with Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
That was another weird movie. It was a weird movie like that.
Where it's like, oh yeah, you take the pill, and then you'll get a power. Maybe it'll be a good one, or maybe it'll kill you. We'll see.
Yeah. It was like the Terrigen crystals in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, I'm gonna bust this crystal in front of you. Maybe you cocoon and come out a beautiful butterfly. Maybe you did.
Well, which is also one of the big story points of Bright, is the magic wand, where it's like, if you use it and you're not a Bright, you're not a warlock or a wizard, and you try to you'll just die. So the forbidden fruit, red herring there. But I guess the big thing here that I have is lanterns, and I know that you have not
Okay.
seen episode 2, as you said, so I will avoid spoilers, but I will say that I am I've talked to some people that are disappointed with lanterns because they're like, "Oh, they're screwing up the lore, they're doing Hal Jordan wrong."
Well,
I I don't really feel that. Um I think that there's a couple of things going on. One, I think that a lot of what they are showing us is showing us what they want us to see.
yeah,
They're giving us a story that they want us to believe, that they want us to think. They want us to think that a certain thing is going on when in fact something else is actually happening.
yeah,
I believe that there are a lot of red herrings. In the first episode, it ended with Hal being dead. And
yes.
I still don't believe that he's dead. I know that you believe that he is in fact dead, but I think that, and even if he is dead, there are canonical ways around this.
I just want to say I believe that Hal Jordan is dead.
Okay. So these are some things where it's like there are methods that they can work
That
around where
that
yes,
that
I get
is
you.
Hal Jordan, and that Hal Jordan is dead.
Your subtext was subtle, but I did grasp it.
Okay.
Yes.
Just to be
So
clear, I believe
that's Hal Jordan. Um, but no, so I think so. There's this very surface level story that if you are just watching and you're not watching the sleight of hand that they're doing right under your nose. You're missing a lot, and they are playing their cards so far. I think they are playing their cards incredibly fair because whenever there is, I've always said I love twists in
Yeah.
shows and movies. However, I it only works for me if it was fair. If we see the twist and then we can watch it again and be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I see what they did there." If I would have been paying close enough attention or if I would have been focusing on this, I could have seen that twist coming. Where it's all there. It's not fair if they just like throw a twist out of nowhere and they never gave you any hints or anything to figure it out yourself. I don't think
Yeah.
that's not rewarding. That's just like, oh, well, that's just dumb. Like how could I have known that was coming? So I think they are so far, I think they are playing their hand very fairly and they are laying out a lot of things on the table and some even calling blatant attention to it without outright saying it. I think there will be several twists and I think that they by the time they are revealed, it seems as though they will have been played fairly.
Yeah, and I would agree with you. And I tell people all the time, if you can reach a level where you can create a twist that's as good as Nev Campbell's twist in Wild Things, then you'll have the audience hooked.
That's not the scene I
Uh,
remember from Wild Things, but
I mean, I
the
remember a lot of great scenes. I'm just talking about the twist.
well,
There
there
was
was
a
some
lot of good
twisting in that
twists
one
too.
scene.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there was a
there
lot of good
was.
twists in there too. But
uh,
the narrative twist that they took with her character. Um, but yeah, I do agree with you that we're we're not seeing the show yet. We're just
yeah,
seeing what they want us to show, what they want to show
and
us.
they do a couple of things. This is not a big. There's a we get to see a hint of John's true potential,
Yep.
and we also get to see Hal playing it very straight, even though he is baffled by it and he is just very plain about it, but we know that it's there. You get to see a lot of things, and again, I'll be very vague here for the sake of Jay. We can talk more about it maybe next week, but there's a lot of things that happen within the town um, that are odd. Sometimes it's not explicitly called attention to. They don't vocalize it all that. They don't call a ton of attention to it, but there will be a little bit of a questioning look. So pay attention whenever Hal uh, is puzzled, you should look around and observe his surroundings because there's a lot of odd things there. I think there's also a lot of setup that we're seeing. Uh, I think that we are heading towards Blackest Night. I think they are setting up for maybe not the end of this season, maybe by the end of season 2 if they get a season 2, but I think we are moving in the direction of the Blackest Night. And we are also getting set up for other Lantern Corps
Oh yeah.
outside of Yellow in episode 2, I believe.
Well,
I
yeah,
wanna say.
because for the standard layman, they really ever anything. They only ever hint at the Yellow Lantern Corps
Yeah, so I believe that we are
because of
getting hints.
Sinestro.
I believe that we are getting uh hints at the Red Lantern Corps
Red
in
Corps, yeah.
episode 2, and I believe that we have already met Atrocitus. We are also getting uh a bit of a we're getting a bit of a collide. So um when Abin Sur died in the comics and gave Hal the ring, originally it was a Manhunter that had done that. And then whenever they did this whole like rebirth thing in the comics, that got retconned, and it was actually Atrocitus that did that. And
That
we
killed
are
Abin Sur,
Abin
or
Sur, yeah. And
okay.
so we seem to be at an interesting intersection where both of those are possible, and perhaps both are even true. And it's just going to be a matter of perspective. So yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff that we're being set up for. I think this is a slow build, and probably about episode 5, maybe 6, stuff starts to unravel.
And that's probably when we're going to meet Oliver Queen.
Yeah, you have failed this city of Rushville.
Not that Oliver Queen, but yes.
um, yeah, so I'm enjoying it so far. Um, we didn't get any 2026 scenes in episode 2. It was primarily in 2016, so we didn't get any current time scenes. But yeah, there's a lot of nods, a lot of winks. And yeah, I'm excited for you to watch it. I'm very interested in the directions that they're going, and I know a lot of people, and this might be, maybe it's a me thing. I know a lot of people won't agree, but a lot of times, you know, whenever it's something like comic books, we want
Yeah.
exactly what we read to be put on the screen, and I think that's a
Right.
reasonable desire. But I don't always need that, because I also want to be surprised
I don't
by
either,
the movie.
man.
What I want, and so this is but here's the thing. Here's the distinction that we've talked about before. Whenever you do something and you just take the names and you just do whatever you want to do with it, I don't like that either. I want you to pay respect to what I know, and I want you to show me that you're aware of what I know, and then tell me a story that plays on that but still surprises me. And
Yeah.
I feel like that's what is being done with Lantern. So I'm not disappointed in the presentation of Jon Stewart or Hal. I'm not disappointed in any of these story beats, because a lot of them I don't think are actually real, and or at least not real in the sense that we would think of them. I think that they are red herrings. But they are going out of their way, because again, it's James Gunn. They're going out of their way to let us know, hey, we know that you know this, and whenever we do this, we know this is what you're going to think. And this game of cat and mouse of, what are you going to play into that I know, and what are you going to play against because you know what I know.
Well, there's a lot of what you knew there with what I know,
Yes.
with how you know what I know. But
Whenever you haven't seen it, we got to be very vague and very cryptic. But
Yeah.
bottom line, I am enjoying the ride. I love a good slow burn. I love a good mystery, and right now, that's what this feels like. It feels like a good slow burn mystery that also is incorporating time hopping as this overarching sort of mystery happens. So if done well, I think this could be a really great season of TV. And I know a lot of people are already dancing on DC's grave, but like you and I have said before, DC desperately needed to differentiate itself from Marvel, instead
Yes.
of looking like, oh, let's do dark and gritty and this and that. Where I've even known some people that they're like, wait, is this in the how does this play into the MCU? And it's like it doesn't, But now DC has its own vibe, its own feel, and again, they're going to have to do stuff like this without a lot of fanfare, just to gain trust back because they lost so much trust with what they did. So
and
we're
and
going to
I
have some
think
underperforming movies for a while and some underperforming
and
shows.
I think this show is one of those steps, and I
Yes.
like it because it's showing a side of a superhero we seldom get to see, which is when they're just fucking done with it all, and yet they're still trying to hold on to the greatness because they're playing on the idea that Hal doesn't want to give him the ring, but they're also playing the fact that he's just fucking done, man. He's just tired of it, and yet again, it's the one ring, right? It's
Yeah.
the I know I'm old and I know I'm just tired of it all, but I still don't want to give you the precious, dude. And so, I pushed my viewing to this Sunday so I can watch 2 episodes in a row. So I'm looking forward to that. I think that's I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah,
Well,
still excited for the season.
there's also a thing. I think episode 2 shows this hand a little bit as well. That I don't think that Hal is as jaded and over it as he presents himself.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah,
But
because
I
like
like that they're presenting.
no, yeah, exactly.
That's what I wanted to
No, no,
say.
no. I agree. That's what I'm saying. Is I like that the surface level is
Yeah,
he's over it. He doesn't want to do this. He's always yet. But below that is he is always thinking. And
yeah.
so in episode 1, he goes into the bar, like they go to the bar, he wanted to talk to the alien and they wouldn't let him talk to the alien. They go to the bar and he's bitching and moaning about it and he is they're drinking and he orders around for John and then he orders a double for himself. But it's not because it's presented as though he's doing this because he's just a miserable piece of shit and he's
But
getting
he's
drunk
trying to get
because
arrested on
he didn't get his
purpose.
way, but it's because he was about to get in a fight. He was numbing
Yeah,
himself up to get in a fight. So there's like this surface level thing of where it's like, okay, this guy's just over it and jaded and done. But we see these things that he does, these reactions where it's like, no, this is a character that he's playing. I'm sure there is a bit of it that's true where he's
yeah.
just kind of like old and my back hurts and whatever. And I wish I didn't have to lug around the lantern. I don't like to charge the ring, whatever. You know, so he's a bit lazy, but he's very smart and he's playing this role. He's playing it up, and there we see a lot of nods, I think, to the fact that he's a lot more invested than he wants people to believe he is.
Yeah, I think he's playing that you never let him see you coming
Yeah,
type of deal. You show one thing and play another. But anyway, yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, I'm looking forward to Sunday.
yeah. So we'll talk more about it next week. We'll have 3 episodes in. Again, I don't even know how many episodes they've got. Like I said, we've speculated since
It's
HBO is
HBO.
probably 8.
Yeah.
But we'll see. But anyways, that's really all I've got. Do you have anything else that you want to touch on, Jay?
Man, I do not. A movie that kept getting a little bit of trailers here and there, and now the hype is real on it, and I'm looking forward to it. Is this Andrew Garfield dark and gritty version of Robin Hood? So I'm looking, trying to piece that together to try to go see
This
that.
has somehow escaped my attention. I was completely unaware this movie existed until you just said
so
this now.
At first, I just thought it was like a medieval, hey, we're getting shit on them, we're rebelling against the system. But then I find out it's the origins of Robin Hood is the story. And it looks like they're trying to tell the actual story as if an actual story existed. And Andrew Garfield's in it. I forgot what the name of the movie is. That's
I have to
how
look it up. I do
I
like Andrew Garfield a lot.
Yeah, I was not, the trailer would pop up on my social feeds. I would just skip it. I would literally swipe through it. And then I ended up watching one of them because I saw in the caption, it said Origins of Robin Hood. And so I was like, maybe I better watch this. So, I don't know when it even comes out, but I definitely would like to see that movie as well.
I'll have to check it out. I did, however, get tickets for opening day, December 17th of Doomsday. So I got
Not
tickets for
Doom
Izzy.
3, just Doomsday.
Huh?
Not Doom 3, just Doomsday.
For opening day of Doom, because I don't want, like, I know what's going to happen in Doom 3. I don't want Doomsday to get spoiled for me. I
Yeah.
don't want to learn, like, whenever, because it's like they just, man, news outlets have no respect for it. I remember whenever
No.
Deadpool and Wolverine came out, literally the day that the movie, like the morning, like the movie came out, you know, like the preview night before,
Yeah,
and then was
Thursday
officially
night.
opening, Friday. And like I woke up and there were all these news articles spoiling that Blade was in the movie. You know, I'm like, fucking, what is your
Yeah.
deal? You know, like,
I'm so glad I stayed off that shit, man.
So yeah, so I'm like, yeah, opening day, like preview Thursday, I have tickets.
Yeah.
So I'm working, and then once I get off work, we're seeing like a 6:15, 6:45 showing of Doomsday.
Nice. Okay.
Oh shit. That's our day. We might have to do a little bit later.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll figure that out. We'll figure that out.
I was waiting for you to figure that out. You do that. That's twice in a row now.
I always
You
do
did it for Spider-Man Brand New Day.
I did. But this is the thing that always happens. We've
Sure.
talked about this before, where it's like,
Go do your movie, dude.
where it's like,
You go do your movie.
I never like look at my schedule. I always assume I'm open. Like anytime somebody's like, "Hey, we should do this," like, "Yeah, let's do it," and I always just assume that I'm free.
Yeah. So that night it's going to be whatever episode 1 of the Hardcore podcast without the casual.
But
oh man,
we'll figure it out. We got till December to get that sorted.
Okay.
But anyways, all right. But thank you everybody for joining us, and we will see you next week, where we will talk about whatever comes up between now and then. Which hopefully, everybody in Hollywood just keep it together, stay alive.
Yeah.
We don't want to do this again, but hopefully it's all good news next week. But until then, we will talk to you next Thursday for episode
Woot.
85. Huh?
I just said woot.
Oh, I think you said boobs.
Woot. Oh, boobs. Boobs.
Wild things. Anyways, all right. We'll see you next
Yeah.
week for episode 85.
I must